Well, this request came in quite a while ago, but we're just now getting to it. This person says, I watched one of your videos where you recommend roll canvas for doing practice work. I bought a roll, but my paint won't go on the canvas unless I scrub it in. But your paint seems to go on smoothly. How do you do that? Pure magic. Well, really now, there is such a wide variety of canvas surfaces for oil painting, and we're talking primarily about oil painting here, although acrylic painting might apply, but the solution will be slightly different. Unless you can afford to buy the oil primed canvas, the linen canvases, which are quite expensive, then you will be buying a cotton canvas that's acrylic primed. Now, the really good quality ones that have the smooth surface so that you could just paint right into them without having to scrub your paint in, those are quite expensive to buy stretch canvas, even for the smaller ones. But if you want to do practice work, you don't want to do that on a stretch canvas anyway, because practice work is most likely either going to be thrown away or filed into some sort of reference system for later. And so I kind of compare canvas and working or painting, the whole process of painting. I kind of parallel that with musical performance. So if you're going to give a musical performance, you probably dress a little different, maybe a little better, upgrade a little bit from what you would wear if you're just practicing for a musical performance. Well, painting should be the same way. We have certain practice exercises that will enable us to get a better results when we paint. But we do that, we don't really show that. We show the final results, the performance. So if you're using stretch canvas for the practice work, I think you're probably wasting your money. That's why I recommend buy the roll canvas and cut your sheets to size, whatever size you want them, for your practice work. Now, there is available, we all know, these little tablets of canvas sheets. Those aren't worth a hoot. People have more trouble with those, and I don't recommend them. I think they're really a waste of money. But if you buy a good quality canvas, primed, acrylic primed canvas, then you can save a lot of money and use those for your practice work. But it is a little bit of a problem when you consider the surface that those will probably have. Now, this is where I come into answering the question that was asked in the quick tip or in the comments section. Can you hear this? I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, but this is a sheet of stretch canvas, a straight sheet of roll canvas that I've cut to size, but it has a really kind of rough feeling surface. Now, two things: that rough surface is will resist your first strokes of paint. That's the reason you have to rub them in. Also, a dry feeling surface will resist the paint too. Well, we can take care of that with this little process that I use for all the demonstrations I do for you and all the teaching demonstrations I do, because I don't want to save those and show them. It's not my work, it's me teaching. So here's my solution. And you'll need some materials for this, but in the long run, you're saving money. And by the way, somebody's going to ask, so I'll just tell you. The Frederick Style 70, and I think it's now called Universal. You can check that out. A roll canvas is one that I found is a medium weight, and I think it's either double primed or triple primed. So it's one of the better ones available for the amount of money. Now, if you can spend a lot of money on rolled canvas too. We're talking about practice work, something you can practice on. So here are the materials I've listed for you right here. At the hardware store, Walmart, wherever you find sandpaper, 320 grit or finer. You don't want a sandpaper that's any rougher than that. Now, I'm not advertising here, but this is what I found really works to catch the dust you're going to have available when you sand. I'll show you that in a minute. This Swiffer refill pad, the one that's the heavy duty that has a little notch and it picks up that dust much better. I'll show you that in a moment. And in the pharmacies, you can find these packs of sterile pads, gauze pads, 3 by 3 inches. That's perfect because what I'm going to show you requires something that doesn't have lint on it. And then Viva paper towels. Once again, I'm not advertising for Viva, but that's a good lint-free paper towel that you can use to wipe away surface. And the most important ingredient is poppy oil. This is for oil painters, not for acrylic painters. Poppy oil is available from all the major paint or oil artist supply companies. Just poppy oil. And the reason for poppy oil, you can see it's white. It doesn't yellow like linseed oil. Now, linseed oil will do the same thing, but poppy oil I like a whole lot better. Now, the way we get started is you cut your sheet canvas to whatever size you want. Go ahead and tape it to a surface. It makes it easier to work on. And then with the 320 grit paper, sandpaper, you just give it, you see how it sounds? Give it just a light-handed sanding. You don't want to sand deep in and take all that prime away from the surface, or else you just expose the surface to the paint soaking in. So you don't want that to happen. But just give it a nice what should I say, sanding. Just give it a nice, and see, as I do that, you see that sound feels less rough and less rough. Now, you can test it with your fingertips. Be sure you wipe your fingertips off. What I'm doing right here, I don't know if you can see. And just pull your fingertips across, and you see how you can't hear that now? Your fingertips will feel that surface as smooth. Next step, using your Swiffer pad, you just very gently pull it across, and it pulls all that dust that you've created from your sanding, pulls it away. I usually give it a horizontal and a vertical go at that. Try not to create dust while you're doing that. And the next step, with your gauze pad, I've got a clean one here to show you this, and your poppy oil. Now, there's another method I have used in the past for this, and you might have seen it. I might have done a quick tip on it, I'm not quite sure, where I use a spray, where I mix the poppy oil with a solvent and spray it. But what I discovered is overuse, that spray does clog up and you just can't use it anymore. But I've recently, or for a long time now, have been using this method, which sort of shortcuts that. So we just take the poppy oil and dampen your gauze pad. You don't have to dampen the whole thing, just a little bit. And set that poppy oil down. And then rub it in. And this is where I rub it in really, really good. And I just use little round strokes. And if you look at it from the side, you can tell where you have rubbed it in and where areas you might have missed. And usually for a small piece like this, I won't have to dampen the gauze anymore. Usually this is sufficient, but I want to rub that in really, really good. I want that poppy oil to soak in really, really good to that prime. And what this gives us, now I'm sort of stretching this a little bit. It gives us something very similar to an oil primed canvas. And so I'll just continue that now all the way down. And then I will usually be sure I have hit all the areas. I want it equally conditioned. And this is conditioning the surface. I want it equally conditioned, so I will simply do this. Now, the next step now is we need to wipe down the excess. And so the Viva, this is Viva paper towel I have right here, is good for that. So I simply pull the Viva across to wipe away the excess. Now if you don't do this, your paint will slide around on the surface. So you don't want that to happen. I'm going to show you how to find the perfect amount of conditioning of oil that needs to stay on the canvas. If you rub it in really good, you don't have to worry too much about that, but you do want to it lift off more than you think you really need to, because the oil is soaking in, and it's going to it's not all going to come off. Then be sure your fingertips are dry and pull your fingertips across like this. Now, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that my fingertips are still sort of wet looking. So that means I haven't pulled enough of that oil off. So I'll rotate the paper towel to a dry surface, and I'll give it a little bit more energy and pull that excess oil away. Now this, it doesn't take very long, and it's really worth the effort. Yeah, let's check it now. Again, be sure that you wipe your fingertips really, really good so that you don't have any shiny left on there. Pull your finger there we go. You can see my fingertips are not wet looking now, they're just shiny. That's what I want, is the surface is just shiny. I'll go over it one more time just for good measure. Now that is a perfectly conditioned canvas, and what you'll find is that your paint will flow right on that. Those first strokes of paint that you put on there will flow right onto the canvas. You won't have to work and work and work to scrub the paint in. It makes it a whole lot easier. So you'll save some money, first of all, if you use the sheet canvas rather than the stretch canvas to do practice work on. You'll have a better feeling about your work and better results, better practice sessions if your canvas is in good shape for you to work from it. So give that a try. Let me know in the comments section what you think about it. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianneMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, rolling.